Hopefully that's, yeah, they've already knocked me off the goddamn air. Oh, Lord. This happens every time I get into anything on YouTube anymore. It's ridiculous. So, um, let's see. We're still live on the backup channel, I believe. So, that's weird. Okay, we're going live. Are we going live on the main channel? I'm not really sure what just happened. Yeah, it looks like we are. So we're live again. Um, wow. So tonight, for those of you that are just tuning in, that is absolutely strange. That is absolutely strange. That is not the first time this has happened. But tonight we're going to be talking about psychic powers of the human mind. In case you missed it, they just booted me off both YouTube channels once again. This is lost you, John. Yeah, guys. I'm so sorry, man. I'm so sorry. This is becoming, like you guys know, this is becoming a regular thing. And it's like as soon as my chat rooms start to get a substantial number of people watching, they boot both YouTube channels off the air. And depending on the context or the content that I'm discussing, especially if I'm going into some deep, like mystic knowledge that's really going to bust open your awareness, they really do make a concerted effort to not just shadow ban and censor, but flat out try to cancel our asses out and do anything they can to hinder us from bringing you this gnosis, from bringing you this spiritual food, is what it is. So, and I'm putting my heart and soul and all of my energy into my work. And I want you to know that, I am in full service of you. And I am trying my very best to share every drop of knowledge that I've attained on my path and my spiritual journey. So I hope everybody soaks it up and, let's maintain a positive state of consciousness and let's maintain a high energy in the chat. And I do believe that goes a long way with creating a momentum, and I even use the word momentum before they cut off the first video, right? We're building momentum, man. And it's something that, they know they can't stop it if we truly get it going. So those of you just tuning in, please subscribe, follow wherever you're watching at, click the bell, get the notifications, make sure to comment. Engage in the chat rooms and comment like crazy. Comment after the video's over. I don't care if you tell me to go fuck off or eat shit. Just comment and share this link no matter what social media or platform you're watching it from. Just take a second, share it out there on your Facebook or whatever. And guys, please donate and support. The main channels have been knocked down for 2 weeks before the last couple of days. We have just started dropping the private content weekly again. We have got the Dropbox full with over 100 videos of hours-long shows of uncensored content, and it is information you will not find nowhere else, in depth like you will not find anywhere else. And, you have access to those weekly live private shows on Discord, which we just dropped one last night, which I feel like it was a killer-ass video. I'm just going to say I feel like it was some really good shit. And we were talking about Embalmed Alive. We were talking about the occultic. Well, I can't even tell you what we were talking about. Let's just put it this way. It goes right along with the transhumanist agenda. But we were looking at it from an occult perspective and showing you how far back through the cycles and times that this agenda has been playing out, and we went deep. So if you want to watch that, it's already been moved to private. You can join us and pledge on Patreon, or you can get a YouTube channel membership. I have posted it for the members. I have posted it on Patreon, and I have dropped the Dropbox links with the entire libraries on both as well. Or you can donate and support Join the Best Damn Fam, $35 a month, through PayPal, Venmo, Cash App, or Facebook Messenger. The links are in the description below, and they should be cranking in the chat. Also, spontaneously, if my bots are turned on, they will be. So, Please donate, support. That way we can not focus on money and we can focus on content and really bring, something valuable to everybody. That's really where I'm trying to put my focus and shift, into just pure spirituality, pure learning, pure growth. And I think the focus needs to shift to the community too. I think all of you guys that watch need to realize that you guys are the superstars that actually make this whole shit run. That you guys are the ones that actually make all of this happen and make it all possible. And I think people need to see that it goes beyond, the guy at the microphone. That when you join a community, a group, a collective like ours, right? And I consider us a family, a spiritual family. I feel like when you join something like this and you become a part of something like this and you're truly seeking that illumination, that enlightenment, you need to see that it's not just the host that has skills or knows some shit, Matter of fact, I might not know the most and I might not even have close to the most skills. And that's what I want people to see, is that all of the moving parts, all of the people that are participating in this are amazing beings. And I promise you, I can recognize it. I have conversations with people all the time. Last night after the private show, I did free tarot readings for people, during the post-show chat. Another reason to join. And when I talk to somebody for the first time within our community, it's like I recognize it. I see this divine spark in these people. And I never cease to be impressed. I'm fucking impressed by the people I meet in our community. As people, not only just in their character, the way that they carry themselves, their demeanor, but the amount of shit that all of us have been through and came out on top of. It's like we've all been through these crazy, crazy struggles and these crazy, crazy traumas. And we've just been through hell, most of us. So many challenges, and even though the challenges may not be the same, mine may vary in degree greatly from yours and be very different from yours, but it doesn't discount or discredit yours, right? Yours are just a different variety, and it's like each thing that we've been through, each person's life has shaped them to be this individual, just badass, this spiritual terminator, you know what I mean? And it's amazing, the character that these people have, the intelligence that these people have, and the spiritual aptitude, and then you see their gifts and their abilities. Some of the clairvoyance that some of the people in our community have. And we have every sort, man. Some people practice witchcraft. Some people consider themselves Christians. We have it all. Right? And how open-minded and how open everyone's heart is to one another. I think it's cool. It's awesome. I'm so grateful to have been a part of it. And, honestly, I don't ever want to see it stop at this point. I think we can take it to a way higher plane of existence, a way higher level than where we're at now. And I'm determined, if you can't tell. So, John's content is intense. Well, thank you. Yeah, well, thank you. And it's because I'm surrounded by fucking Terminators. I've learned from the best. So, put it that way. So, we're going to go ahead and skip past Kundalini here. We're going to go somewhere else because in case you guys are watching on another platform, we're going to first look at the Jinn. Let's look at the Jinn, why don't we? Let's see where these dark wishes, right? And I talked about this in last night's show, right? Like rubbing the fucking lamp, making your wish. Whenever you cut that deal with the devil, homie, be careful what you wish for, right? Because it's always a perverse, inverted, distorted, skewed ass version of what you actually wanted, right? It's like, oh, you said you wanted a love that was till death do you part. So they'll have you killed, right? The day after you get married type shit. That's the kind of deals the devil has for you, right? Jinn is a fascinating subject. Absolutely, absolutely, man. So I love you too, Shelly. I love all of you guys. I really do. And I'm so grateful and thankful for you taking the time to engage, watch, and just even be willing to give your hard-earned money to help keep this all going. So here we go. Jinn. Jinn derives from the Arabic meaning to hide or be hidden. It is the English term for the Arabic jinni or jinni, or an alleged race of spirits. Jinn or genies are supernatural creatures in Arab folklore and Islamic teachings which occupy a parallel world to that of mankind. Together, jinn, humans, and angels make up the three sentient creations of Allah. According to the Quran, there are two creations that have free will: humans and jinns. Religious sources say barely anything about them. However, the Quran mentions that jinn are made of smokeless flame or scorching fire. Like human beings, a jinn can also be good, evil, or neutrally benevolent. The jinn are mentioned frequently in the Quran, and there is a surah entitled Surah al-Jinn in the Quran. And that smokeless flame, does that sound familiar? This is also the same substance that the seraphim or the archons are made up of as well. And just to kind of take it back to what we were talking about even just before we got rudely cut off by YouTube, their rude shit, the Kundalini, right? These sentient serpent beings that are always associated with serpents, seraphim, serpents, seraphic, fire beings, fire angels, and it's a smokeless fire, just like the burning bush that Moses or Akhenaten discovered on Mount Sinai. And we know that that whole story of the mountain, right? Mount Sinai, Mount Hermon, Mount Olympus, right? And it always associates with the gods, right? Whether it's the Olympians, whether it's the Norse, or whether it is a burning bush talking about the smokeless flame. These are what I believe, and I'm going to go back here just to show the depiction. You see this serpent being? I have shown videos in the past of what look like serpents or snakes swimming through the air, swimming through the atmosphere. I wonder if you guys even remember when we showed that video. I mean, it was literally on Mr. MBB333. Somebody had caught this video. And alright, hold on, guys. Let me see if I can get my internet switched here. Because they've got my IP or something. So hopefully, just bear with me 1 second. I'm going to switch to a different alright, I think we're good. Alright, so as long as we're good in the chat, then we're good. I'm going to try to keep it going here. That's so crazy how they keep doing this to me. Alright. I don't know what I've done here. Now I've got my screen all funky. Alright, so I have seen these entities. And these entities, they are like the darker than dark. And then you've got what we would call like electromagnetic orb-looking beings. And some of them even look to be like cyclonic. Right? They look like little cyclones spinning through the air. And that's what you would call like a poltergeist. Right? Like a charged entity or energy that has movement, kinetic energy within it. I believe that there are actual serpent-like beings that are more akin to slugs or something that feed parasitically on human consciousness. And they are vampiric entities. And I don't want to tell you how I know this, but I've had some strange experiences, and I know that they can literally, like, just like an eyeball, okay? And the optical nerves, it's like kind of like if you took an eye out, and you would have the eyeball and then the optical nerves hanging out. That's what they look like. And I believe they literally can attach to your eyes in any type of part of your nervous system. And you always see the Kundalini awakening or demonic attachments begin at the base of the spine or the sacral sanctum, right? The root chakra. And we also know that whenever we look into the mysteries, right, the vagus nerve is a main entrance spiritually. It's the back door for Kundalini awakening, right? So that's why you have like Las Vegas is Sin City, right? What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, right? So because it's relative to a Kundalini awakening, it's going through the back door, right? Not just anally, but metaphorically and metaphysically as well, okay? So, and when you have, and I'm going to read this last little part, and let me see if I can change this before. Hopefully we're good and it doesn't kick me back off. But where's it at here? It says, yes, within a Western frame. I can leave it like that. Never mind, guys. The concept of Kundalini comes from yogic philosophy of ancient India and refers to the mothering, which is divine feminine, right? The mothering intelligence behind yogic awakening and spiritual maturation. It might be regarded by yogis as a sort of deity. See? A deity. An entity. Hence the occasional capitalization of the term. And right, and it's the divine mother, divine feminine, right? This Tiamat, the feminine serpent. Remember, there's in the Cthulhu's mythos, right, there was two serpents. A red serpent, the masculine, paternal serpent, and then which was Cthulhu's, and then the feminine maternal serpent, which would be the blue serpent, which was Tiamat. Okay? And if you look at the Sumerian tablets, in particular the Lost Book of Enki, the whole tale of Nibiru and Marduk was about him destroying Tiamat, which Tiamat was the divine feminine that devoured the all-consuming spirit. And you see this also in the Egyptian mythos too as well, pertaining to Ra and Isis, right? That the divine feminine was the all-consuming spirit too. And if we really think about it, whenever we're doing transfiguration, ultimately we are transmuting our lower carnal energy into our higher. So that's why the Holy Spirit or the divine feminine is all-consuming, right? Because it's literally feeding off of the lower energies. But vice versa as well. The lower carnal energies actually feed off of the light. Also, there's always an inverse to this, right? So this is where it comes into whichever spiritual school of thought you want to go with, right? Whichever principles you practice, when you make that sacrifice, which one are you sacrificing? Some, mostly patriarchal religions will have you sacrifice your ego, your lower carnal self, right? Asking God to take away your sins, right? Your darkness, your distortion, your low vibes. Okay? That's a sacrifice. You're sacrificing your physical existence for the higher, right? You're sacrificing the lesser for the greater, the lower for the higher. Or you'll see in other schools of thought that work with darker energies, they will, and they call it selling your soul, right? They sacrifice the higher, right, for the lower, or the greater for the lesser. And these are the lesser keys and greater keys of Solomon, right? And we've covered those grimoires and, all of that over the years. But ultimately, that's what that breaks down to. The higher is the greater, the lower is the lesser, right? And this is also Upper and Lower Egypt, right, when you are Pharaoh, okay? So we'll get into that as we go through the night. Spiritual awakening, yes, hit the thumbs up, guys, please. And everybody, make sure to share the links and comment and consider supporting. We really do need it, so I'm grateful for everybody who does. The appearance is referred to as pranic awakening. Prana is interpreted as the vital, life-sustaining force in the body. Uplifted or intensified life energy is called pranadhana, and is supposed to originate from an apparent reservoir of subtle bioenergy at the base of the spine. And this is what I mean. The vagus nerve, the sacral sanctum, okay? This is where demonic entities come through and attach for demonic attachments and even possession and oppression, okay? And this is where initiation can happen through sexual means, through the back door. And this is where the spark of Kundalini awakening also begins, metaphysically. Okay, this energy is also interpreted as vibrational phenomena that initiates a period or process of vibrational spiritual development. And where is it at? We're going to read this last little part here and then jump over. It even talks about when you are in this state of mind. Let's see. A few Western translators interpret the energetic phenomena as a form of psychic or paranormal energy. Although the Western parapsychological understanding of psychic energy, separated from the cultural Hermetic matrix, is probably not the same as yogic understanding. Yogic philosophy understands this concept as a maturing energy that expresses the individual's soteriological longings. Viewed in a mythological context, is sometimes believed to be an aspect of Shakti, the goddess and consort of Shiva. Kundalini might be said to be a popular concept since it's widely quoted among various disciplines of yoga and New Age beliefs. However, the recent popularization of the term within new religious movements has, according to some scholars of religion, not contributed to promote a mature understanding of the concept. As with many Eastern contemplative concepts, there exists considerable difficulties and possible semantic confusion connected to the way these concepts are adapted to a Western context. This has led to somewhat different interpretations and applications of the concept of Kundalini within the spiritual and contemplative culture in the West. On the one hand, there are the New Age popularizations, and on the other hand, there is the traditional lineage of Kundalini Yoga, understood from its cultural background and interpreted within the academic fields of religious studies, pastoral theology, and transpersonal humanistic psychology. With these tools of these academic traditions, it is possible to give different interpretations to the concept of Kundalini, such as physiological interpretations, psychological interpretations, clinical interpretations, religious interpretations, mythological interpretations, and spiritual interpretations. So there you have it, right? We just kind of described a few of those different interpretations on our own, did we not? Right? Karma. And why am I going through all of this? Well, because we are talking about psychic powers of the human mind tonight, okay? And in order to understand the actual powers and gifts that we're going to be discussing, and we're going to be talking about some rare ones too, some really cool ones, so bear with me. You first need to understand the energies that are actually being utilized to manifest these gifts and to attract these abilities, and what triggers this shift and awakening and all of that, okay? So that's why we're hitting these things first. Karma. Karma means responsibility in this lifetime from another in which your soul experiences. It is about the wheels of gears of time in synchronicity attempting to bring everything into balance, yet all the while, the algorithm of our reality forever creates experiences that are out of balance to create an emotional playground at this level of consciousness to study emotions. There is an expression, what goes around comes around. It's about balance at the end of the consciousness hologram in which we vicariously experience, and this is true. As the lifting of the veil escalates and continues, right? And on this channel, we talk about quite frequently how this, in essence, is a direct result or manifestation of solar activity, solar minimums and maximums, plasmatic ejections that we call coronal mass ejections or solar flares, cosmic rays, radiation, and energies, and how they interact with the magnetic field or the ionosphere. All right? That magnetic field acts as the veil, right? The protective bubble around the earth that protects us, in essence, from all the different radiations which actually mutate our genetics, mutate our DNA, and what creates transfiguration, right? That's what transforms us. And that cosmic rays is the cosmic information that is being sent down to our DNA to us at a cellular level, which allows us to receive kind of the Akashic record, if you will, and expand and grow our conscious understanding, and feeds the conscious awakening. So you have the transfiguration and the mutation through your genetics, and then you have the cosmic information that comes in the form of downloads and all of that. And it's just really a spiritual energy that is positive and negatively charged ions, binary code, ones and zeros, right, flowing in the form of different types of ions. All right. Yes, and it's to him, he's dropping the DNA strand. Yeah, and last night in the private show, we got into the agenda quite a bit, man. If you have not seen last night's private show, I'm telling you, it's one you don't want to miss. And there's a whole library, over 100 videos on that Dropbox. So join the Best Damn Fam. And if you donated through PayPal, Venmo, Cash App, or Facebook, then which I did post the link in the Facebook group too, the private one. If you donated through one of those venues or avenues, you text 513-393-2396 or email the Real Best Damn Podcast at gmail.com and text, say, hey John, I need my links. You don't have to pledge monthly or join memberships. If you just, you donated one of the other routes, just text me, and I text the links out to somebody already, so I've already got them up, and if you need them, I'll get them to you ASAP. I want everybody to see last night's show. It was good, but it's already private now. Karma is a concept of action or deed in Dharmic religions, understood as denoting the entire cycle of cause and effect described in Hindu, Jain, Sikh, and Buddhist philosophies. Karma is about responsibility. It is a link between two or more souls from one or more lifetimes. A karmic debt is something you supposedly owe another person, or they owe you from another timeline. As all is parallel, the matter of karma, the wheel of karma, are soul connections in parallel realities. Now we get caught up in the games of emotions, family, and friends, and what are called soul groups, who plays in different realities and games together as friends and lovers and soulmates. Here we find things owed and games played out that even we cannot often make sense of. The explanation of karma can differ per tradition. Usually, it's believed to be a sum of all that an individual has done, is currently doing, and will do. The results or fruits of actions are called karmaphala. Karma is not about retribution, vengeance, punishment, or reward. Karma simply deals with what is. The effects of all deeds actively create past, present, and future experiences, thus making one responsible for one's own life and the pain and joy it brings to others. In religions that incorporate reincarnation, karma extends through one's present life and all past and future lives as well. It is cumulative. Throughout this process, many believe God plays some kind of role, for example, as the dispenser of the fruits of karma. Other Hindus consider the natural laws of causation sufficient to explain the effects of karma. Another view holds that Sadhguru, acting on God's behalf, can mitigate or work out some of the karma of the disciple. And he's doing that. I believe if you go, I'm a firm believer in the rose and the cross, man. I'm just going to keep it real. The Golden Dawn, Hermetic principles is kind of like my go-to move, right, when it comes to spirituality, because those 7 Hermetic principles describe karma to me better than any other principle or spiritual system, which you're more than welcome to get down with what you get down with, right? You don't have to be a hermeticist or anything like that, or an occultist or anything, right? Like whatever you're into is what you're into, and what works for you is what works for you. Buddhism is another good avenue for that. Hinduism as well. But when you look at Hermeticism, it talks about the pendulum, right? And how energy through like correspondence, polarity, vibration, and rhythm, it's breaking down in essence the flow of energy and how energetics flow, the magnetic flow of energy, and how essentially we hypothetically, theoretically, should be able to avoid bad karma if we understand how the pendulum swings and we understand how energies work. Quite often you'll see with those who practice black magic and, voodoo and different forms of witchcraft, that they will try to create a buffer between themselves and their bad karma, right? Because anytime, and I'm a believer, that's why in the Bible, when it talks about Babylon falling, it says that she will be paid back double, right, for the blood of the saints and all she's done. Which, remember, Babylon is that divine feminine, that Tiamat spirit we was already talking about. But it's the inverted, perverse version. There is always a dualistic aspect, even to the feminine spirit. There's a positive and negative aspect to the feminine, positive, negative aspect to the masculine, okay? So that negative aspect of the feminine, right, which many people, I think, mistake Kundalini for, right? They believe that dark mother is Kundalini, and maybe it is. Maybe I'm the naive one thinking that there's positivity in Kundalini. Who knows? But when it talks about paying back that 2-for-1, because collectively on the larger spiritual, chessboard of life, I am you, you are me. We're all tethered together consciously, and that's why we communicate through our subconscious and stuff, even when we're speaking verbally, phonetically, right? We're always constantly in subconscious communication as well, because we share one overall arcing spirit of life and light. That's where they get Osiris, the one soul infinitely resurrected in spirit, that living soul that animates every one of us, that doesn't have identity, right? That just comes from God, is a piece of God, is God. Well, that's our divine connection. And then we have our masculine aspect, our carnal or distorted image, which is a reflection of that, and that's our individual aspect, our logos or our ego or whatever, right? However you want to, label it. So when you get paid back 2-for-1, not only do you get the karma of what you did to another person, but because that other person is also you get the karma of what you did to yourself too. So to me, this is why I always talk about sowing good seeds. People, they don't buy into the shit, it's really weird. Nobody buys into it, but I preach it a lot, when you, it talks about you reap what you sow in the Bible. That is a version of karma, right? Reaping what you sow, that is karma. That's karmic. Karma is a cycle too. It's a circle or an orbit of energy. So it comes back around and back around and back around, and we talk about these cycles or orbits of energy, these karmic ties. We call them soul contracts, soul ties, right? Attachments is what they are. And how we'll repeat certain relationships, we'll repeat certain situations, we'll repeat certain failures, certain hindrances in life because we haven't overcome, transmuted, or transfigured that distorted or negative energy that is repressing us or oppressing us karmically. We all have the ability to change that energy to a positive. Anytime we can flip the way that the magnet spins. Anytime, right? But it's only done within. You can't do it outside trying to affect the karma externally or exoterically. Right? That's why religion fails so miserably, right? You can only do it esoterically, and by going from within and doing the inner work where the energy actually originates and is stored, right, from traumas and your emotions and your thoughts and all of that. And many people do healing work through different techniques to affect our auric field, right, which I'm not here we're going to talk about auric healing and shit tonight too. So just, if you're not familiar, that's one way, in cleansing, incense and things like that, because they have a direct effect on how the ionizing of the atmosphere or the ethers, right? So you can kind of neutralize certain elements or certain spiritual elements or entities energies, and that's what entities are. They're archetypical energies or distorted energies within the ethers, and we call them entities because sometimes they take on personalities, right? It's an archetype. It's a fragment of something, right? That's kind of taken on a life of its own because of what type of energy it is. It'll embody the characteristics or trait surrounded by that type of energy, by the type of acts that were committed to create that energy. So if it's a sexual energy, it'll have sexual traits and characteristics, both good and bad, right? But we can also see how, and when we use like incense, burning sage and things like that, that smoke is a form of gas essentially, right? Or smoke. These are ionized ethers too, or and whatever herb that they're coming from, they give off a particular frequency as well, and however that energetic frequency interacts with a particular entity is what neutralizes it, right? So it's really chemistry or alchemy at the end of the day when you're using things like that. So there is those type of methods to heal karma. And then the internal work of going back to the original thoughts that create these things, going back to the original emotional traumas that have essentially caused a fracture or a fragment and has built an altar, right, in the mind to the things that have happened, these traumas in our life, or past lives. You hear about past life regression, okay? And these are different ways to kind of rewire the brain or remove the heavy kind of bound up energy of the emotions that kind of block us and create blockages within our life. They'll create blockages for wealth, health, love, all types of things, right? Karmic energy can really fuck you up, and that's why it's used a lot in dark spells. 9 times out of 10, if somebody wants to really wax that ass spiritually, then they'll just bind you up in karma, right? They'll just use karma, and a lot of times what they'll do is they'll put a bunch of bad karma on you and then try to use the pendulum to switch places with you karmically, right? That way you're taking the brunt of all the karma, they're taking all the good karma, you're taking all the bad, right? And we see a lot of that bullshit, and that's what I was talking about the other day, the coronal mass ejections, the solar flares. Yes, the sun, solar activity, minimums, maximums have a direct effect on human consciousness. They have a direct effect on how we age. They have a direct effect on our IQ. They have a direct effect on us as a whole, right? And how our reality is affected. But during minimums, the ions that come out of these mass ejections or plasmatic discharges from the sun, remember this cosmic information is more conducive to negative entities, right? Negative kundalini energies, negative vampiric or parasitic entities, and it makes it easier to attach or bad karma. It makes it easier to feed off of good karma because your auric field is more open or a conducive environment to parasitic or negative entities. But then when we have the positively charged ions, remember it's all frequency, how it interacts with the auric field essentially eradicates or disintegrates, eliminates, right, a lot of that parasite type of vibe or that vampire energy. So yeah, it took a lot of work to get here. We are the enlightened ones. Yeah, it's taken a hell of a lot of work, right? Like, it's crazy. Honestly, it really is. And I can tell you I've had about 1 billion karmic curses, by the way. You probably don't know a person who's been cursed more karmically than me, just to keep it real. Now, I'm not bragging. But, and what goes around comes around. That is a cycle, okay? And we talk about reaping what you sow, okay? Reaping what you sow, you are planting the seeds karmically by your actions, by your thoughts, by your feelings, by your words, right? That is planting the karmic seeds. And no matter how good of a witch you are or a warlock you are, no matter how of a badass occultist you think you are, in the end, you cannot outrun karma. It will eventually catch up to you. And I think the reason a lot of us have these karmic wounds from past lives is because probably a lot of these motherfuckers have been running from karma for lifetime after lifetime. Right? leeching off of people and feeding off of people for lifetime after lifetime. You know, using other people as a buffer or a pawn to take the brunt of negative karma from the bullshit they do lifetime after lifetime. And eventually at the end of the age, the end of these cycles, there's nobody else to use as a buffer. There's nowhere else to run. You know, you can only avoid the pendulum so long before it swings so heavy it's going to knock you right off the fucking whatever you're standing on. Like, and that's where we're at now. And as that magnetic field is more and more affected by the solar activities, by the cosmic rays and radiation and all of that, and it goes into flux more, that veil, that protection, it is affected, and it allows the gap or the drag, in essence, that is created between light and sound energetically, which is kind of like the delay. It's what gives everything mutability to me. You know, and it's how we're able to make things mutable, and it's how we're able to alter timelines, it's how we're able to kind of have a fate as opposed to an ultimate destiny, and it's what gives us free will. But as we accelerate towards the end point of a cycle, the end of an age, well, that gap closes, the veil lifts, and karma becomes instant, right? And manifestation becomes almost automatic. So if you're on some bullshit, what does that say for you? It says no matter how good your magic is, you can't make a buffer big enough to run from an automatic manifestation or instant karma. It's going to catch that ass. You know, and that's where we're at now. Right? Knowledge isn't just increasing. People's karmic load is increasing. And I would hate to be a lot of these people. I'm just saying, right? And this is judgment. You know, this is the trial or the tribulation, the test. It's like, how do you handle your karma? Do you take the opportunity of the process of ascension to transfigure all this energy, to change all of this? Or do you continue to be a pussy and run from it and try to shift it onto everybody else until at the end, you know, judgment's called down and you eat that shit? Right? It's up to you. It's up to you. But either way, the manipulation of energies is how we are able to do these things, and these energies referred to as Jinn, archons. Amongst archaeologists dealing with ancient Middle Eastern cultures, any spirit lesser than angels is often referred to as genie, especially when describing stone carvings or other forms of art. Remember, hieroglyphs, petroglyphs, all of this are symbols. Symbols are energetic frequencies or representations or archetypical representations of energies, i.e. entities. Inscriptions found in northwestern Arabia seem to indicate the worship of Jinn, or at least their tributary status. For instance, an inscription from Beth Fossils near Palmyra pays tribute to the Jinni, or Jinni, the good and rewarding gods. Types of Jinn include the Shaitan, the Ghoul, the Madrid, the Ifrit, and the Jinn. According to the information to the Arabian Nights, Ifrit seemed to be the strongest form of Jinn, followed by Marids, and then the rest of the Jinn forms. And think about this too, it's a Satan, right? And what are they? They're good and rewarding gods. What do you think they're good and rewarding with? See, a Jinn is a mirror entity. That's what a smokeless fire being is to me. That's what a demon is to me. It's a disembodied black mirror. Right? So that's why when people approach evil spirits and they're crazy fucking combative to them, why do you think the spirit attacks you back? You think it's mad what religion you practice? It could give a fuck less. It's because you're bringing combative energy to it. Right? You have no idea on the deep, deep levels of reality and creation what purpose negative energy entities even truly serve, right? If you ask me, I believe that negative energy is used as a catalyst to stimulate growth. And I mean, it's just as important as positive energy. And there is a whole race of negative beings, just like there is a race of positive beings, right? And each being, each group serves like a purpose that can't be replaced, right? They're both necessary. Without them, we don't have reality. We don't have the opposing energies to create the conflict to sustain a physical reality. So these Jinn and genies rewarding and punishing, right? They're just mirroring back to you what your karma is, what your energy is. So when you come combative, you get combative back. When you have no fear, when you're at peace, when you're shining light, notice they can't fuck with you, they can't touch you. Why is that? Because for one, when you're in a state of positivity, peace, and tranquility, and you're in a high vibration, a high conscious state, consciously, on the scale of frequency, you're out of reach, for one, right? So they can't even see you because you're that much higher on the scale of frequency than they are if you're in like a Christ state, okay? Remember, Christ is the anointing. Right, so if you're dripping the milk and honey, the sacred secretion, and you're in that state of Christ, well, you can't be touched. That's why you're given dominion over all things. That's why you'll tread on the lion, the adder, and the scorpion and all of that, right? It's because in that frequency, in that vibration, in that spirit, embodying that archetype, you are above all things. You have dominion over all things. That is the highest state of human consciousness within this cycle that we've known so far. But remember, Christ said we will do even greater works than he. So that means that there is higher places than that consciously. And another thing, let's say you're not in a Christ state, but you're not reacting in fear. You're not reacting in anger. Well, you're not going to get much back, are you? If you're not feeding into the energy, because every action there is a reaction. And if it is a black mirror, if you're not giving something to it to reflect back at you, then there's nothing reflected back at you, right? And that's where people use the karma for love spells and, all of these things. They will take herbs. They will take, a million different variations of shit, essentially, that has an energetic frequency or a vibration, and they will charge these black mirrors, or charge this karma with that energy because they want that reflected back into their reality. And even when you're trying to, to fuck with somebody and do them shitty, right? They'll charge it with terrible stuff or charge it with energies that would not be good for that person or conducive to their growth or their health, right? Would actually bring negativity into their life because they want that reflected back to the person. So, and that's why they do these things, right? And that's how that stuff works. And that's where karma and all of that actually comes in. So, now moving forward here. The Jinn in Islam, similar to humans, Jinn have free will, allowing them to do as they choose, such as follow any religion. They are usually invisible to humans, and humans do not appear clearly to them. Jinn have the power to travel large distances at extreme speeds and are thought to live in remote areas, mountains, seas, trees, and the air, in their own communities like humans. Jinn will also be judged on the day of judgment and will be sent to paradise or hell according to their deeds. And this is Jinn in Islam. And let me just say this. The reason they can't be seen is, for one, quantumly, they exist in another dimensional state. And if you think about human beings with our physical eyes, we can only see 0.00001% of the electromagnetic light spectrum. So infrared to ultraviolet, right? We can't even see those light spectrums with our eyeballs. So if the Jinn is a, super low vibratory entity, well, the light that makes up that being would be infrared, right? It would be invisible. With extrasensory perception, might be able to catch a glimpse of the thing if it's, darker than dark as it shoots through the room or something like that. Or using technology, cameras and shit that have a wider scope of light that it's able to capture. Same thing with something, positive, ultraviolet, right? You might catch a glimpse of it, but, you're not going to be able to see that being because it's existing in a different state of consciousness, a different frequency of light that because of that veil, which is dropping, and that's why we're becoming more and more aware of these entities and more aware of these. I've seen them with my physical eyes recently. So I do know these things exist. Different forms of entities at least. But as that veil drops, and the doors of perception swing open within each one of us consciously, and we're activated, right? And consciousness increases, frequency intensifies. We open up gifts within us that allow us to experience these entities and these energies at a deeper level. Now let's move into the gifts now. Let's see what some of the comments say. Animals see evil and sense it. Animals see in a different spectrum of light. You got to think, dogs and shit, they hear lower and higher frequencies than we do. Sound is a vibration. They see in infrared and black and white and shit like that. That's a frequency, right? That's why they're able to hear them and sense them. And notice we use electronic voice phenomena, or EVP, to catch the voices of the dead or spiritual entities. And we know that even the dead is just electromagnetic energy, right? It's whether it's positively or negatively charged, right? That's the poltergeist. It's kinetic energy. It's electromagnetic energy in movement. It's kinetic, right? And it has intelligence attached to it. Why? Because those positive and negative ions that make up that electromagnetic energy carry the cosmic rays, the cosmic information within them. So, of course, whatever energy that made up your consciousness still carries that information once it leaves your body when you're dead. It's still charged in a certain way once it leaves your body when you're dead. And when you have no body, you have to charge in a different way, right? And that's why you get poltergeist and demons attaching to people. They're trying to recharge, right? So they feed off of negativity. They feed off of positivity. And, good angels, bad angels, all of them, that is the way that our world is created, right? It is carnivorous. We eat fish. We eat, cattle. We eat insects. We're eating things physically. And it's always micro and macro. It continues down to the cellular level. You have parasites within your body that you can't even see because they're microscopic, feeding on you, right? So why would people think that this stops in the spiritual realm? I have no idea, but it does not. Okay? Divination. Divination, reading symbols or archetypes, is subjective at best. When interpreting symbols, use your psychic abilities to get more information. You can also use a dream dictionary or a book that details symbols and archetypes to get further clarification of images you see. As consciousness is evolving, so too are the meanings of most symbols. Try to view them not as two-dimensional messages, but as holograms. And let's take a look at some of these symbols. I think this is just kind of interesting. Let me get a drink here. Chase that money, watch it burn. All lessons you'll learn. Yeah, well, money is energy too, right? It's currency, right? Which is a current, like an electrical current, or like a current of water, right? The flow of water. That's why it's called money flow, cash flow, right? And remember, the waters pertaining to the spiritual reality, the waters above the firmament and below, Christ walking on water, right? The whole nine. We're made up of water. The earth is made up of water. The heavens are water, right? Water retains memory, and the charge in currency, right? Holding a charge, which is holding memory, right? And the ebb and flow of these things too. And remember, Lucifer is the god of currency, right? And that would be the feminine light side of all of this. Everybody is a universe of its own supporting symbiotic life forms. I agree, Graceful Heart, totally. I believe that each one of us are, when we call ourselves sons of God, because I believe we're all sons of God, even if you're a girl. And that's just because of the etymology of the words, right? Like in the way that it means we'll be both sexes, right? In the spiritual realm, either way. So it doesn't matter. That each one of us, our inheritance as kings, as sovereign beings, when you are truly illuminated and free of the bonds of this earth, the bonds of this realm, right? And you stand in your sovereign power and you hold on to that rod, that staff, and you become the king or the queen of your own creation, your own conscious manifestation, then you take the throne of God, right? You open up New Jerusalem or the holy city or the third temple within yourself, which is also the bottomless pit, okay? And you sit on that throne, right, as God, right, within yourself. And that's your inheritance. The kingdom of heaven is within. In my Father's house are many mansions, right? Each mansion is one of us. We're all each a mansion. We're our own spiritual house. Our own heaven lies within each and every one of us, and so does our own hell, right? And that's why you see, like the Minotaur's maze being associated with like a purgatory or a hell, right? It's the maze of the mind, right? And these are gifts of the mind. Acorn. At the top means success and gain. At the bottom means good health. Aircraft. Journey, if broken, means danger of accident, can also mean a rise in position. And keep this in mind, these symbols can be in dreams. You could see them walking down the street. Someone could mention this in a conversation. This is how synchronization works. Ooh, you caught alive. Hell yeah. I'm so glad you caught alive. For real. I'm glad everybody's here. Make sure to hit that damn thumbs up. Please, guys. I need that. All right? I need that thumbs up from all of you. All right? Everybody in the house, make sure to hit the thumbs up. And everybody in the house, please share this link. Comment, engage, interact, and donate if you can. So, but that thumbs up's key. All right, anchor. Cross, Jesus. At top, rest, stability, constancy. At bottom means clouded, inconstancy. Apple, computer, knowledge, achievement. Axe, difficulties. If at the top, overcoming difficulties. Baby, something new, pregnancy. Ball, completion. Variable fortunes, bell. Harmonics, creation. Spiritual and unexpected news. Birds, ascension, good news. And we're not going to go through every one of these. This is a long fucking list here. But you get the point here, right? That each one of these images are representative of an archetype or a divine meaning. Speaking of EVP, let's check out electronic voice phenomena. I've got so many too. We're about to have fun. These are all cool. And this is straight up pseudoscience. There is no separation. No, there is not, man. No, there is not. Now, electronic voice phenomena, or EVP, are sounds found on electronic recordings which resemble speech, but are not the result of intentional recording or rendering. EVP are commonly found in recordings with static, stray radio transmissions, and background noise, or aka white noise. Recordings of EVP are often produced by increasing the gain, i.e. sensitivity, of the recording equipment. Interest in EVP surrounds claims that they are paranormal of origin, although a number of natural explanations have been offered, including apophenia, or perceiving patterns in random information, auditory pareidolia, which is interpreting random sounds as voices in one's own language, and equipment artifacts and hoaxes. Parapsychologists Konstantinos Radiv, who popularized the idea, described EVP as typically brief, usually the length of a word or a short phrase. I will tell you this, I have used digital audio recorders and I have ghost hunted, and I'm a firm believer that EVP is legit disembodied spiritual voices, if you will. Okay? That's what I believe when it comes to EVP. I feel like that electronic voice phenomena is that detached consciousness which contains the positive and negative charged ions, which contains the binary code or energetic information, and that's in essence what allows the message of that consciousness to kind of be carried through. So that's my opinion when it comes to EVP. Do I think that there are entities on the other side that are trying to communicate with us? Yes. I believe that they're not bound by the physical perception or limitations of the physical body like we are. Right? So why wouldn't they be trying to communicate? It doesn't make any sense that they wouldn't, especially if they're trying to obtain energy and feed themselves and continue on in the astral reality that we consciously exist in outside of this world. Through years of paranormal research as a psychic medium who has dialogued with spirits most of my life, I listened to voice recordings of everything from what alleged aliens to ghosts and more. Some of these voices can be scientifically explained, but not all. At times when my computer is turned off, messages materialize on my monitor or voices emanate through the speakers. And think about this. Synchronistic messages, I believe, would kind of fall under the same thing, right? Synchronistic messages would be like, or synchronicities would be like energetic alignments, right? That are energetically aligned with perceived consciousness. So you might see it as a red stop sign 5 times in a row, or, hear the same word repetitively used, or, see patterns and shit like that. But these recognizable patterns to me are synchronistic alignments with consciousness and your ability to be aware of them, right? So, like I said, I went through my own personal experiences with EVP. I do believe that it's legit as fuck. Now we're going to jump into these other gifts here. Should we go to the doppelganger? Trying to decide where I want to take it next here. I've got so many. Automatic writing, or let's go to the aura. 100% others on the other side that are ready and willing to talk. Yeah, man. Well, think about it. Okay, think about it. If you really do, if you have, and we have the ability to talk to the dead, I wouldn't advise it, especially if you're like, you're not, really have mastered those techniques. I don't know if it would be a great idea to go playing with those kind of things, because you can open yourself up whenever you communicate, and you open yourself up for communication. Well, guess what? You open yourself up for communication, right? So you're going to get whatever's on the other side, and whatever energy, remember, it's a black mirror, right? So whatever energy you're actually bringing to the table is what's going to be reflected back at you, and what you're going to be attracting to yourself. So you have to understand those things, and a lot of the different methods that are also used to attract said energies, in different practices, are not the healthiest ways to attract energies, right? And these different offerings of herbs and incense and shit, you don't know every single entity on the other side and every single archetype, no matter how many books you've read and how long you practiced. You don't know what all is attracted to frankincense, even though you might have a book that tells you every type of entity that's actually attracted to frankincense, right? You don't actually know, though. You're not over there. No matter how aware you are or how good of a traveler you are, you don't know, by what cadence in your voice when you say a particular, rite or ritual or whatever, right? A spell, how that inflection in your voice, something as small as that, can actually change the dynamics of what you call in, So I really advise people to be careful, So cool. Yeah, this stuff to me, man, I've been wanting to do one of these kind of videos for a long time, and I was always too afraid to back in the past. I'm like, man, people think I'm fucking, a Fruit Loop if I talk about this stuff, but I'm to the point where I don't care. This shit's so important, and people just don't even, nobody talks about it. Nobody fucking brings any of this up, and nobody explains it either. Like, they'll say shit, they'll be like, yo, take care of your inner child, man. But they don't tell you how to actually do it. They don't tell you what your inner child is, and they don't tell you even how it works. I used to have a conversation with an ex-girlfriend about that all the time. She was like huge into that type of stuff, and it was like, she would complain. She'd be like, John, she's like, I'm trying to find information on healing my inner child. She's like, and nobody will tell me what the fuck it even means, let alone how it works and how you can, affect it. So it's like, I don't want to be one of those type of teachers, So yeah. In metaphysics, aura refers to this energy field emanating from the surface of a person or object. This emanation is visualized as an outline of cascading color and may be held to represent soul vibrations, chakra emergence, or a reflection of surrounding energy fields. The existence of electromagnetic fields around every object in the known world is a scientifically proven fact. What is debatable is whether or not humans can see these electromagnetic fields as colors with the naked eye. This claim is considered paranormal because devices that sense electromagnetic fields at magnitudes many times smaller than that which allegedly exist in auras have recorded nothing. However, these energy fields are sometimes claimed to be documented by a rare form of photography called Kirlian photography. And let me just state, I have had one instance in my life, and I was in a very high state of consciousness when it took place, where I seen the literal aura of a person. Like, I seen it around his physical body and everything. I could see his entire aura. And it was quite a profound experience. Do I see everybody's aura everywhere I go? No. Like I said, I was in a very high state of consciousness, and I was doing a lot of traveling at that time, and I was wide the fuck open. And I was under the influence of a lot of different spells and shit like that people were putting on me, and, I was probably bringing to myself by a lot of the just being careless. But I did witness an aura with my eyes, and this Kirlian photography, I believe, is a real deal thing. And these colors are correlations to the chakras, which are also correlations to the 7 rays or the rainbows or the covenant, right? And each color and its dynamic or how it correlates to each chakra represents something, right? Sacral sanctum, all of these different chakras, right? Root chakra, right? It all represents something different, and like stability and, whatever, strength, right? If we're talking about the root, and it's red, and, or orange, and the sexual energy, right? And just so on, solar plexus, and it's yellow, and, and it's heart energy, and, and so on and so forth, right? The violet and the third eye. And, so each one of these colors, they correlate to a different dynamic of, which would be, in essence, a form of Kundalini energy, right? Because the chakras are, I believe, activation points or gates, if you will, gateways, if you will. These are the 7 lampstands, the 7 seals, the 7 trumpets. This is where, a lot of that comes in. And that's why we're ruled by 7 days of the week. It also connects to our biological system as well. And it reflects into the heavens, to all of our organs. All of this connects to these things. And those different colors and the health of those colors. I had a girlfriend, too, that had a good ability to paint. And she would tell me about different exercises where you could picture, your chakra. You would picture a certain part of your body, right? You would picture your solar plexus or whatever, right? And like you would imagine the first color that came to mind, There are different exercises to bring out that color, and then you would paint it, right? And you would be able to tell by the darkness or lightness, right? By the texture of the color and how, the clarity of the color, like whether it was like a healthy yellow or was it a dark dingy yellow, how was the color as opposed to what it was supposed to be looking like in a healthy form, right? At a healthy frequency and a healthy vibration. And this was one way to read auras, one way to do kind of, chakra healing or auric healing. So, like I said, this was somebody else that gave me that information. That wasn't my own. So, auras vibrate to different colors, sounds, and light frequencies. I feel like somebody just said that. The color spectrum varies with one's physical. I'm starting to wonder, like, did I write these things in the future and then come back? Because I always say something and then read it like the very next second. Auras vibrate to different colors, sounds, and light frequencies. The color spectrum varies with one's physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual states. Auras are in a constant state of flux. When I do psychic readings with someone, I check their aura. I always, if it sways back and forth, the person has a chemical imbalance due to drugs, medication, drinking, a chemical imbalance in the brain. When I look at the photo of a person who has no aura or the aura appears black, I know the person has crossed over in part or totally, as their physical body no longer has an electromagnetic energy field. Now that is interesting. And I do want to say, I have been in energetic states where I can feel my own magnetic field. And I can feel my own aura, and I disagree. As far as it moving in flux, like it means you're fucked up on drugs and shit like that. That has to do a lot with polarity. You have to understand it's a magnetic field, and it's like a conscious net. So depending on how the sun's reacting, how much energy is in the wind, the different type of people that you're around, the electronics within your house, that's going to push and pull and tug on your electromagnetic field, i.e. your aura. Okay. So, but I do know that it can fluctuate. It's supposed to pump like a dynamo or a cyclone, right? Up and down the chakras. And you'll have like a pulsating from your third eye. And that's how you know you're like churning energy in and out, right? And then it will emanate from your crown. But that's only if you can get to that high of a state. Most people, they say, can't even get to the third eye, let alone the crown, when it comes to pulsating energy off of themselves, right? Especially being able to physically feel it or be aware of it and have others be aware of it. And I can honestly say, with all honesty, not only have I physically felt mine and been aware of it, others have been aware of my field. Lots of people, matter of fact. So I've been in some high states of consciousness, put it that way. It's probably because I'm in a lab rat for the United States government. I have had fun changing my aura while taking auric pick meditation and working with anything that can enhance your electromagnetic energy fields, will raise your frequency and move you to a higher frequency color of light. In other words, you hold a few clear crystal quartz and meditate, take your picture. It will have a clear white tone unless you have serious medical problems. So you will see all things are connected by the flow of electromagnetic energy fields that create our reality. And this is something that I've been wanting to work on, and people fucking laughed at me. Imagine that when I brought the idea up. But I've also seen other people that work with energy. I can read energy intuitively a lot of times when I'm with people. I have that gift. I don't necessarily see it physically, but I do feel it and I can read it. But crystals, which are different, they're made up of different minerals and metals, right? And they're conducive to different minerals and metals, which are also different states of frequency, okay? And they can hold let's say you have a crystal that, sapphire or whatever, and let's say there's an energetic frequency that correlates to sapphire for love or something, right? You can charge a crystal with your energy, right? And use that for healing, or use that for love. Let's say that somebody's trying to create in their life more love, right? Well, obviously, one of the smarter things to do would to be to, and I wanted to do this. I wanted to, because I produce extreme fertility too. So I know that a lot of people have fertility problems, and trouble birthing new projects, trouble birthing, and sometimes I give away so much energy that I fuck myself, just to be all the way honest with you. That's why I feel like I have financial struggles, because I'm constantly giving my energy away, and I don't always remember to save some for me. But, one of the things I wanted to do was, like, people who needed help with fertility, do things like that to charge specific crystals that are conducive to the vibration or band of energy that correlates with fertility, to charge those, and you could sell it as jewelry, sell those charged crystals, or you could just be a good, great soul and help your brother and sister out and give it to them because you want to see a new project or a new creation they're working on come to life. And you know that you'll benefit if they benefit, because that's what family is actually about, right? It's like, I will pour my energy into this because I know when you come up, you're going to pour your energy back into me, and it'll all balance out in the wash. Or say you're trying to have a baby, right? Instead of me banging your wife, would you much rather me pour my energy into a crystal, and give it to you that way? Instead of impregnating your wife the other way, wouldn't you rather you have the energies that were conducive to you being able to do it yourself? Some people would say no. They'd be like, nah, man, I'd rather just, pay you to, to sleep with her and get her pregnant yourself, but I would, that's one of my gifts is I'm very fertile when it comes to energy, and I have like an infinite supply. I'm really high energy, and I replenish really fast in a high vibration, high frequency, high consciousness. And when I presented the idea to people about charging crystals and helping with fertility and all that, people laughed at me, basically. And it's like, wow. Is it too ahead of its time, or is it too whimsical, or what? I don't know. You're rolling? What, are you laughing because I said I would bang their wife? Be like, hey, imagine if somebody, instead of going to a sperm bank or whatever, if you got a homie that's got like super fertility, why not have the motherfucker hold on to a couple of crystals for a few days, slide them in your pocket before you go home, there you go, bro. I got you. Just saying. Moving forward. It's way better than having me hit it, because she probably ain't coming back, bro. I'm just joking. Kinda. So, moving forward. I'm done went into the dumpster. I need to get it out of there. My bad. Monk-like chanting with another to harmonize at the appropriate resonant frequency can likely heal anything and everything worth considering and remembering. I like that. And we've spoken about this too, because chants in song, which are different forms of worship and shit like that, are actually frequency too. And that be chants, especially the ohms, the ahs, right? Those are the original love language or heart language, that guttural language. So like when you're having sex and you're grunting and you're oohing and you're ahhing, that is like your most natural sound you can make. Those are true frequencies of pleasure. true frequencies of satisfaction, true frequencies of relief. And that's why sex magic is so powerful, because for one, it's masculine and feminine coming together, which is the dynamic necessary to create life. And for two, it is the magic of God, which is creation of life, right? So that's why people will speak something into the air first. They'll usually light incense, surround something with crystals and candles, and some people use idols and herbs and all this shit. They'll take a certain type of bath with certain minerals within it, and then they will have sex. And because when you have sex, you give off certain pheromones and energies, you charge the air in a certain way, then you speak the words that you're trying to create, right? Or do your chants after the air has been charged with the sex, because it's the power of creation. It's the power of life. Yeah. Well, I mean, and some people use this for bad shit. That's why you see the abuse of, like, people, little tiny people that shouldn't be having sex at all. People that do that stuff, that's why they're doing that, because, like, there is such they're so young, and I don't want to, you guys know what I'm talking about, but they're so small and new spiritually that they give off a tremendous amount of energy, and that's why they love to make them afraid and shit like that. It's actually disgusting, right? But they're feeding off of those psychic vibes that come off of them for their own perverse, disgusting, bitch-ass purposes. So, and that's one thing I have no respect for whatsoever, is harming another person. Harming another person for any reason whatsoever. You never have a right to feed off of somebody, to try to karmically trap somebody or harm somebody. You never have that right. And I hope it blows up in your fucking face worse than anything has ever blown up in your face if you do those things to people. And you never, ever, ever have a right to harm an innocent child, And sadly, but most people that harm others are also the same people that harm children, or are okay with that. They make excuses for that, So it's disgusting. Moving forward. Sorry, I didn't mean to lower the vibe. See, just even talking about it lowers the vibe. Automatic writing. And music is like magic too. Music is magic. That's why you have the percussion of drums and all, shit like that. Yeah, damn is right, bro. Like, it's crazy, man. It's crazy. Automatic writing. The process or product of writing material that does not come from the conscious thoughts of the writer. The writer's hand forms the message, and the person is unaware of what will be written. It is sometimes done in a trance state. Other times, the writer is aware, not in trance, of their surroundings, but the actions of their writing hand. And this is something I've always wished I could do, but I cannot. I've never really truly studied the different techniques or methods of the automatic writing, but I've seen other people do it, and I've seen them be really fucking accurate with it too. I think it's really cool, if you ever hear somebody like in a video doing it, you can hear their pen scribbling away as they're talking. It's like, damn, how are you doing all that at one time? I think it's a really cool gift to have. And I'm sure if you hone your craft on this one, you could probably produce some pretty cool results. If any of you guys, do automatic writing or scrying or anything like that, I would be interested to talk to you about that, honestly. Yeah, buzzkill. Yeah, dude, I'm just saying, like, to me, and that's why I'm a believer. It's not just in karma, or the Hermetic principles or any of that. I believe it's just fucking wrong, morally. Like, and how can anybody truly consider themselves powerful if their only power sources that they ever get or obtain comes through the means of manipulation and deception, because they can't be straightforward in their craft whatsoever, right? Or it comes off of the back of another person. So it's not even really their own energy they're using because they're vampiric, right? Trying to use the energy of others or use others as a buffer to block their negative karma. It's like, dude, why are you such a pussy that you can't actually do or manifest or create anything yourself? You know, why you gotta ride the dick of somebody else spiritually like that? And then act like it makes you some badass magician or occultist. You know, it's weak. And it's cowardly to hurt innocent people. It's cowardly to hurt unsuspecting people, take advantage of unsuspecting people and innocent people, and especially of children. So, the worst is energy from getting energy from innocent beings. It really is. But you know what? In the Bible it says, and it's not just talking about kids. It says, anyone who will harm these little ones, right? So it's talking about like spiritual children, right? Like when you're still, pregnant with that Christ in you and you're still a baby, in Christ, right? Like you're still on the milk. You're not at the meat yet. It says anyone who will harm these little ones, it'll be better for them to have a millstone hung around their neck and be thrown into the bottom of the sea, right? And the sea is the waters, right, of the heavens, right? So it's saying, like, you're going to sink to the fucking bottom karmically, bruh, from doing that. Like I said, you can't escape karma. People think they can. They think they're slicker than creation, but they're not. And people have been pulling this shit for eons. So if you think that, all these other people are floating around still in mental prisons, even after they're dead and been dead for fucking 1,000 years, but their spirit, even disembodied, is still suffering. Why do you think that came about for them? Why do you think they're still trapped like that? Because they trapped others that way. That was their karma, right? They can't shake it off because they're dead now. And that would, to me, that's hell. That's hell. A conscious or a mental prison, and all because you tried to create it for another person to use, manipulate, and harm, and now you're going to spend your entire eternal existence that way, maybe? Doesn't hardly seem like it's worth it to me. Yes, the news, it's a mindset. Therapy, automatic writing is used as a tool in Freudian psychology and in related self-knowledge studies, where it's seen as a means of gaining insight into the mind of the automatic writer through their subconscious word choices. It was primarily used by Pierre Genet in France and later by Morton Prince and by Anita Mule in the United States. Religion, automatic writing, is used in spiritualism and the New Age movement as a form of channeling. One of the best-known automatic writers was Helene Smith, an early 20th century psychic who felt that her automatic writing was the attempt of Martians to communicate with Earth. She claimed she could translate their Martian language into French, and that's why nobody believes in this kind of shit. Right? That's why nobody believes in this kind of shit. And that's why they call it pseudoscience. That's why they discredit it. And everybody, please hit that thumbs up for me if you're in the chat. Make sure you hit that thumbs up. Right now, hit the like. But that's why nobody believes in any of this. Because you have people that claim they're channeling Martians. And what she actually probably meant was she was channeling the masculine, right? That would be essentially Martian, right? It would be masculine energy. Patriarchal energy, action energy, right? And that's maybe what she even meant, but we know that they're going to take it, twist it, turn it, and that's those that are not aware or awake or open to, this type of, their doors of perception are closed for people for this shit. Like, they won't even consider it. They're going to take it and they're going to run with shit like that. They're going to use it to discredit all of it, and let them discredit it, is what I say. Let them laugh at all of this. Let them laugh at channeling and all of it. Let them laugh because, and I laugh at a lot of the channeling. I'm not gonna lie. A lot of it's bullshit, where people are just using they're channeling their own ego or alter ego and acting like it's coming from some divine alien race to give you guidance and messages of shit that's nonsensical and can't be backed up by a shred of anything. But there are general, or genuine channels that truly do channel energy, truly are mediums, and they do it in a variety of ways. Automatic writing is one way to channel. Tarot, divination is one way to channel, right? All of these are different forms or methods of channeling. Why? Because you, my friend, are a channel. You're in a host body. What are you hosting? Spirit. You're channeling spirit. The Pleiadians, yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. That kind of shit, I cannot rock with it, But if they put me on Gaia TV, I'm going to start channeling the Pleiadians next, guys. I'm just saying. I'm selling all the fucking way out if I get put on Gaia. All the way out. I'm going to be like, Swaru told me that he's now going to be on this channel, and he's got some new information that's only exclusively through me, I'm gonna hop on the bandwagon and start channeling ETs. That's what I'm gonna do. Hey Gaia, you hear me? Balance partners and messengers. We are spirit beings, we really are. I believe if you're humble and allow that gift without broadcasting, it says so much more, don't you? No. I believe some of us are called to broadcast, but I do believe, yes, if you have that gift, you don't have to talk about it or make people aware of your gift. Does it add to your power? I don't think so. I think it's, whatever your personality is, your personality, because that's the way you're made. And you're meant to be made that way. And some people are meant to be more loud and extroverted and all of that for a reason, right? And they're meant to attract a certain type of, soul group because of their personality type. So those that are more humble and quietly do their thing, they attract another type of soul group, right? So I believe that each and every person, they're made specifically for what their purpose or their calling is. So I don't think it gives you more or less power. I think it takes away from, what would you call it? Not your image, but it takes away from your virtue, I guess, right? If you're bragging about it and shit like that, and I'll be honest, when you do like social media influencing and content creation, you have to have like an element of ego, right, to do this stuff, or else it's not interesting. You know what I mean? If I'm sitting here talking monotone and, and I'm not willing to share anything, it really would, there would be no entertainment value. There would be nothing interesting, and nobody would learn a fucking thing because they wouldn't be able to pay attention. So, certain methods does call for a certain amount of ego. But if you knew me in my personal life, you would know that I'm not arrogant at all. I'm not egotistical at all. People that watch my channel, they're like, God damn, I can't stand him. He's always talking shit. He thinks he knows it all. Da, 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 da. But when you see me in real life, and I've even had people that have been like attracted to me thinking I was like this, like I am on video, and then they meet me in real life and they see I'm shy, I'm antisocial, I'm super quiet, I'm very humble, it's like the total polar opposite. Yeah, I feel like so different circumstances, different situations call for a different mentality. You wouldn't be a very successful teacher or through, content creation or media influencing or anything like that if you didn't bring a little bit of ego with it. Now, this is something here that I feel like this is where everything is heading. Balance partners and messengers, where we're all working in pairs now. And we're finding our divine counterpart now. You can call it your twin flame, your soulmate. We still have, I talked about this the other day in the collective tarot reading, the karmic partnerships and shit like that. But I believe we're now at the point of ascension to where we are finding our partners, and this is who we are meant to do our spiritual work with. We work in pairs. Remember, we do it in pairs and twos. The Bible says that, It says reality is about the return to balance and light. Balanced partners are the people you meet along the way who help you create balance in your life. They are catalysts who allow you to activate your DNA codes. In a time of the evolution of consciousness, balanced partners would be on the same frequency, saying and doing things that bring an awakening feeling within each of you. You look forward to talking, texting, or emailing the messages igniting something in your souls that create balance within. Reality is a consciousness simulation set in linear time to experience emotions. It is based on one's DNA codes and environmental influences. And I'll tell you what, I have experienced this multiple times, these type of partners. Matter of fact, my last girlfriend was a balance partner. I met her, and I shit you not, I went through the greatest awakening that I've ever had in my life. I've never been so triggered by being around a person, and I discovered, gifts within myself I didn't know I had, and it was triggered by being around somebody that was essentially tuned to a similar vibration or state of consciousness when we met. Now, does that mean that today or 10 years from now or whatever, that person and I will still be balanced partners or still be synchristic? No, it doesn't. We all expand and grow at different variables, different rates. So I feel like today I'll find a different balanced partner, and that's what causes separation. Is like, and if you're meant to come back together with some of your balanced partners, you guys will meet back in tune, in frequency, and that's what I think is so hard about working in partnerships, is the constant effort that's needed and maintenance that's needed to harmonize together. It's like singing a song spiritually, and that's what love is. That's what relationships are. That's what friendship is. We're singing a cosmic song together, and it's like, if one person's doing all the singing, or, you know what I mean, and one person's only listening, or vice versa, or one person's singing at a super low octave and the other singing at a super high octave, sometimes it creates incompatibility and distortion within that energetic field, and it creates disharmony, right? And you lose your balance. You fall out of tune, and people will go their separate ways. And if you think about a marriage or something, if there's infidelity or there's cheating or there's lying or there's stealing or all the different things we can do to each other, right, that creates disharmony, right, in union. So it doesn't matter if you're balanced partners, the person I'm talking about and I were, or you're like literal, married couples and just boyfriend and girlfriend, or just homies, friends, right? Whenever you do, every action has a reaction, and it carries a vibration with it. It carries a frequency with it. So, that's why we have to be extra conscious about how other people feel, about what they think about our actions we take, our words, our thoughts, and we want to try to nurture our balanced partner's feelings. We want to try to nurture their growth, but sadly, the societal structure we find ourselves in today is one built on self-centered selfishness, right? So most people, just like they do in every other relationship within their life, will use a balanced partner essentially to feed off of and launch themselves, just like any good person that practices preying on innocent people. But we always have the inverse. There's some people that do that, and then there's there's situations like mine was where it was like really harmonious, you know what I mean? And when you're in tune, you're in tune. But every relationship takes nurturing, it takes work, it takes understanding, it takes patience, right, to create true energetic balance and harmony. You normally don't join in and comment ever, but you just love this. Sweet, sweet. I'm so happy. No, I'm really happy that you're here. I'm glad that you're commenting. I'm glad that you're engaging. I hope you guys all feel comfortable enough to engage in the chat. I know a lot of people over the years have not. You know, we've had our run of dogmatic people. You know, especially in the years I did a lot more conspiracy. It kind of brought out a lot more of that shit. The doom and gloom brought out a lot more of that shit, but as I've grown and evolved and changed in our community, our family has grown, evolved, and changed, I feel like it's a very, very accepting environment. And I swear to you, it's like church for me. This is my church. I do a video. I could not even feel that jazzed up to do a video, even though I haven't felt like that lately. I've been psyched for every show here recently, but and just know it's about to be good. But even if I'm not feeling like that beforehand, I can come in, do a video, and I feel the energy of the chat, if that makes sense. So I can feel when people are creating distractions without even reading the chat. I can feel if people are digging it, and if there's a lot of people in the chat, or I can feel if there's barely anybody in the chat. It's like I feel that energy, I channel that energy, and I feed off of that energy. And that's why I'm a live streamer, and I've always done live streams, is because once you do that, it's like you can't go back. You know what I mean? It's like you love the way that feels. You're like, damn, this is true harmony, and this is true integration. It really is. Like we're all kind of creating this orchestra of consciousness, and it's coming out in the form of a podcast or a show, but we're discussing some really deep things, some high vibration things, and everybody in the chat's chiming in, and it's like everybody's flowing off of each other, right? And just like what we're talking about, balanced partners, right? This is harmony, this is in tune, and it's really a feat or an accomplishment where you can take lots of people and stay in tune and stay in harmony. But it takes an environment that's nurtured with acceptance and openness and all of those things. So, the focus of my readings has shifted greatly through the years, as if an inner knowing that everything is changing and keeping one's balance is getting more difficult. Age-old paradigms that never worked are collapsing. They include economic, religious, political, social, and ecosystems. Weather patterns are shifting along with the predicted increase in global natural disasters. The tectonic plates are shifting. Earthquakes are coming closer in time with increasing intensity and affecting populated areas. It's all a pattern playing out in time. Now is the moment of great balance, when the prophecies throughout time come to the fore for all returns to consciousness and light. And with that, we are guided to seek answers. Souls are tied, confused, and always ask these questions. Who am I? Why am I here? How can I heal, help, and balance myself by healing, helping, and balancing others? How can I make a difference on a large scale? And these answers will come through your experiences along the way, sometimes with a person I call a balance partner, one who enters your life to allow you to create balance and clarity. As you move through your spiritual journey, balance partners will come and go at appointed times, because you will attract each other to that end. And just like I said, this attraction is generally created by the synchronicity principle. You attract each other as you are on the same frequency and have things to share. The synchronicities that develop between you stagger the mind and hence raise the frequencies of both people. The recognition should be there by both partners and is generally fast and fun, a connection forming quickly. It's like instantaneous, dude. You call it love at first sight. You can call it whatever you want, man. Have you ever just clicked with somebody, you vibed with somebody, like your first conversation? It's like you knew them your whole life. It's like there's no the informalities of that boring conversation, that mundane, mediocre conversation. Like, hi, what's up? How are you? What are you doing? How's the weather? Right? None of that shit. It just goes straight into like the meat and potatoes, and you're like talking about, all of the cool and crazy shit you're into and all the experiences you have, which I've had that recently, with people that watch the channel. I've had that to where it's just easy to flow, easy to talk to. And, like I treasure that. Like, I value that. Like, when I have a person like that in my life, and thankfully I do have a person I can talk to like that right now, but I don't always have those people, right? To where it's just so easy to exchange, and I feel like we don't place a value on, conversation. Communication is key to all of this, right? So, like, if we are to grow and expand and all of that, we need that ability to communicate with one another. And that's why we have to be open to different perspectives and point of views, because if not, then we feel like if we see something differently, we might be guilted or shamed for it, and we start to keep secrets and, all of that. Or, the skin deep, shallow conversations that never touch the depths of anything, and this goes into any type of relationship, any type of dynamic, so you can apply it as you see it in your life. Finding balanced partners. Balanced partners show up when two souls are ready to share. It just happens. Trust that your soul will bring that person as needed, as the attraction is created at a soul level, not from your physical mind. Balanced partners can live local to each other or at great distances. In the age of technology, especially with Skype, none of that matters. There are endless ways to connect and find each other online or through shared interests. Facebook is a good place to start. It is. You should check out the Bottom of the Rabbit Hole, the Best Damn Podcast Facebook group, or you should join Best Damn Fam Facebook membership. Right? Those are two Facebook groups I know of right off the top. Just saying. You may never physically meet, but the connection is strong. Your conversations may increase from occasional messages to several times a day, as you are both growing in ways that you cannot with anyone else. Events become exciting and are met with great anticipation. And that's the truth, dude. When you lock in with somebody like that, you'll go from texting just a little bit to like you're texting all night long, talking all night long, every day. It's like your day don't feel complete. Right, when you have a balanced partner, somebody and you'll feel the loss, right, or the absence of a partner, right, or it's just like any relationship. You'll feel the loss of that when you don't have it. It leaves a void in your life. But there's a season for all of these things, and I feel like sometimes people separate for a season of healing, and they come back together. That they need to kind of get under the hood, each one of them, and, get a tune-up. And they can't do that together. They need to separate to get that tune-up. And sometimes people separate and they never come back together, and you find a new partner, and, it's a different experience, and maybe even a better experience than previous ones you've had. I mean, it's different experiences for different people, and it all depends on how you look at it, really. You're a member, not on Facebook, but the other one. Well, is it that obvious? I'm not sure if I caught on to that. You may never physically meet. Sorry, guys. Spiritual connections and balanced partners. Balanced partners can be any age, sex, religion, from any culture or background, come from different walks of life. The point being, they have entered your life to share information and experiences with you that enhance your journey and give you the feeling of moving closer to the spiritual mission that seems to embrace your soul and tug at your consciousness. And this is why I give out my phone number, honestly, guys, because I'm always seeking more balanced partners. And it's got nothing to do with male, female, or, whatever. Like, I've had homies that have been my balance partners, a few of them, matter of fact, that have been mentors to me too, older men that have helped mentor me along the way. So that's why I make myself available in that way, because I'm always seeking new balanced partners, more balanced partners, and it might not be the same dynamic of love or whatever that I had with, someone in the past, but you can still create a unique dynamic between one another. And that's what part of being in a community or a tribe or a family is all about, is creating those individual dynamics as well as the collective dynamic. That's what strengthens us. If we want our family to be the strongest family on the block, right? And to really be able to support one another spiritually and energetically, then we have to create those. We have to create alignments, with one another. We have to become allies in life and in the spirit world. True allies in the spirit world. I hate to say it, but a lot of people that are in spiritual clubs or groups or families or memberships are usually backbiters, and I don't want to create that type of atmosphere. I want a truly strong family, right? One that is supportive of our differences, embraces our differences, one that is all about learning, expanding, growing, and one that contains people that actually do the work, and each person grows at their own pace, their own rate. There's nobody to tell you that you're being stagnant or you're not doing enough, right? You're right where you're supposed to be as you're supposed to be there, always, whether you know it or not. Sometimes we need breaks from this stuff. Sometimes we need periods of healing. Sometimes we need periods of, turning it down a few notches and stepping out of consciousness. There's no right or wrong. It's like you got to give the body, the mind, the spirit what it needs when it needs it. So if you need a night at the bar and having a few beers with your buddies, there is nothing wrong with that. That's like what you might need at that time. It's all about living life. We do these things, we learn this stuff so we can live more, we can have more experiences, right? But we can have a better quality of life overall, right? And if we can love ourselves and create a better quality character within ourselves, a better quality person, then we benefit the world, by doing that. And we benefit everyone else's life that we touch by doing that. So it really is in our best interest to create this balance and harmony with each other every chance that we can. So anybody's always welcome to text me, man. So keeping it moving. Where are we at? Becoming a psychic reader. Some people can read others automatically, while others prefer to use of oracles and divination or other tools to guide them along the way. It's a matter of seeing what works best for the psychic depending on how their brain is programmed. There are many different approaches, including mediumship, which means talking to spirits, and psychology in today's world where people are dealing with emotional problems and other issues. In truth, a good reading includes a combination of many factors, from psychology to connecting with the other side and being able to tell your client not what they want to hear, but what you see. It's like anything else you do in life. If it's your purpose, then the more you read people, the better you get developing your own way of doing things. So I started reading professionally in 1986, and it just came naturally. I've written blogs and created YouTubes explaining that through the years, the way of reading is conducted changes depending on the cycles of time in a person's life and reality. And that makes a lot of sense. You're not going to do a reading the same 10 years from now as you would do today, because you're going to have different tools in the tool belt, right? Different weapons in the arsenal to gauge and read energies. And you're going to have different understandings, too, of those energies. So you're not going to interpret the same as well. As you mature and grow, your gifts mature, grow, and evolve as well. And there are many factors you have to weigh when reading a client. It's nice to have tools such as tarot cards, but the messages actually come from sources, not in this realm, such as spirits, the grids that create the illusion of this reality, and so on. If you can't connect with the other side, it's really not your fault. It's just the way your brain is programmed. It's that simple. In the evolution of consciousness, people are awakening their psychic abilities and discovering they can read others. Some enjoy it for fun and as a part-time job, while others make it a career. Honing in on the skills needed to do accurate reading takes time, understanding, and practice to determine the validity of the information received. To this end, people seek teachers, read books, buy tools such as cards, runes, etc., and begin their journey. Some continue while others get frustrated and stop, and just read when guided at specific times. Some did find they can only read for members of their families or close friends as they share similar frequencies. And for some people during a reading, it is second nature as they have intuitively developed their clairvoyant and clairaudient abilities through the years. One can merely read cards and note their meanings from a book of instructions, but a good psychic reader will then take the information given and find its greater purpose in their client's life. One learns names, dates, places, anything that enhances the meanings of the information given, but what we call oracles of divination, or the tools we use to help guide our readings. We search for answers, but we must understand how to explain what we see and hear from the person's soul and spirit on the other side. Some prefer to close their eyes when doing a reading or see images and hear messages that come through as thought forms, while other readers can do this with their eyes open, by tuning their consciousness to what is above. This takes time and practice. It is like opening a window to the other side, opening your mind or the right side of your brain to receive messages from above. Right? And the right side, it's because it's the feminine, the intuitive, creative side of the brain. Moving forward here. I'm going to try to skim over some of these too. Becoming a teacher. An accelerating theme for people around the world. Excuse me. An accelerating theme for people around the world is finding ways to make a difference on a global level for planet Earth and its people. Those I spoke to in the past would talk about helping small groups of people, but that has stepped up. Grid programming is nudging these people to find a way to become world teachers, healing and helping on a global level. The theme is always the same. If you do not give up your destructive ways, planet Earth will be destroyed. That sentence is self-defeating in a bipolar, electromagnetically created physical reality, programmed to create chaos and then seek balance over and over, cycle after cycle. The reason these people want to help globally is a sense of end times coming and everything as we know it going away. Reality is not evolving to a parallel Earth situation, for as we know, reality is the multiverses are also playing out now. The sense is the close of this reality program in totality, so why not go out with a bang, as that's how we came in. Listen up, fellow teachers. It is back to the drawing board, to the collective unconsciousness, then on to something so new and amazing most people can't imagine it at this level of conscious awareness. As they cling to hope, a greater Earth experience, it simply can't and won't happen. Move on. Many metaphysicians and scientists believe that they will one day make a discovery that they will define who we are and why we are here. Ufologists hold the belief that they will be the first to make contact and get proof of alien visitations. What is driving this? The acceleration at the close of the program. Well, there you go. And if you believe you are or will be a world teacher, make sure you understand the nature of reality as a simulation. And I do believe I am a world teacher. Right? I've been a teacher for quite a few years. And I can tell you what makes the greatest teacher. And it's not preaching doom and gloom. We have no hope. It's, it's not being fancy with understanding the simulation. To me, the true essence of a good teacher is by being an even greater student. You know, what makes the greatest teacher is that they are an even greater student. The only way, and that's what sucks about teaching too. You know, you're always teaching, so, you can get into, and I hate this, man. You ever see some of the really greatest content creators and teachers and shit online for spirituality, and it's like they get into years and years of doing it, and they become really bland and dry, and their shit gets down to like, almost like a program, right? They'll have it in an hour, 2 hour presentation. It's always the same. No matter what video you watch them on, they just recycle the same spiel over and over. And I'm not talking about just, talking the same words or talking about the same things, but literally, it's like a rehearsed, thing that they go through, and it's got slides and all of that, and it never changes. And it's like, because they're constantly, going out teaching, it's like they never have time to learn anything new. So I think that the greatest way to become a great teacher is to be an even greater student. If you're always spending your time learning, and instead of premeditating everything you're going to say, every little thing down to, and a lot of people do that when they create content. It's like they have scripts and all that, whether the government gives it to them or they themselves create it. And there's nothing wrong with having notes and PowerPoints and shit that you want to touch base on. I obviously, I have my tabs and all of that, and I create even though I freestyle 99% of it, I do have a setup beforehand in my mind of, what order I want to go through things, how I want to approach it, and all of that. But I spend most of my time before every show going through all the stuff I'm going to be talking about and learning. I spend all of my time when I'm not doing this learning. Learning. I am addicted to knowledge. Like, flat out dope fiend addicted to knowledge. And I'm addicted to growth too. Like, I'm constantly seeking to evolve, to grow as a person, to become smarter, to become more aware, to become more polished with the information I do present, to understand how every bit of it is connected. A lot of times, because of everything's so compartmentalized, you'll see a person, they have one specialty, right? It's like, oh, I'm a QAnon guy, so all I can ever talk about for eternity is QAnon and Trump. Well, what happens when that shit gets phased out and that information's irrelevant? And everybody figures out it's a psychological warfare operation, and none of it was really legit. It was all premeditated. What happens then? What are you going to talk about? Or are you going to start just regurgitating old Q drops? You know what I mean? Because you can't let it go. Trump's coming back. Da-da-da-da, right? Gasara. And you pigeonhole yourself that way. And that's how you know you become a gimmick also. But there's good money in selling out like that. When you pigeonhole yourself and you become a gimmick like that, there's good money in sponsorship and advertising, all of that, But how much are you truly doing for the earth? For people? By talking about pedos because it gets you views. Makes you look like a hero. By holding on to one subject. And there's nothing wrong with specializing in something or taking a great interest in something. But that one thing that you're latched onto blinds you from everything else. It gives you one perspective. One way of looking at shit. How can you ever evolve and grow? And I think teachers like that show that they're not actually teachers at all because they lack the ability to adapt and change. And when I first created this channel, and even before that, this podcast, I named it Best Damn Podcast because I didn't want to pigeonhole myself. I wanted a generic, general name. That way I could talk about any fucking thing I wanted to. Because I wanted to talk about everything. I'm like, I want to talk about it all. So I need a name that lets me talk about anything and everything. And to change as many times as I want to. And I've always been that way. I can't stand conformity. I can't stand authority. And I can't stand routine, mediocrity. Monotony, I can't stand those things. I need excitement. I need spontaneity. I need passion. I need fucking fire in my life, And I need to shake it up, and I need to do different things and talk about different shit. And that's why, it's if you've watched my content for any amount of years, I've covered it all. There isn't a topic or a subject I haven't covered. And in real life, when we're learning, and why wouldn't a teacher be the same way as the student? Or why wouldn't the guy that's presenting the information be the same way as the person watching it? You as a person who watches content, let me ask you this question. Do you just watch one fucking YouTube channel, one type of content, and learn about one thing? Or do you watch a bunch of channels and learn about a bunch of shit? You may have your favorites, You may have your favorites in the communities that you feel like you really belong to and you're a part of. Hopefully this is it. And this is one of them. And you may have places that topics that you like more than others, but you don't just watch one damn YouTuber or one damn channel. You probably don't even watch on one platform. You're probably on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, like everywhere, watching different things or watching different videos, watching different subjects. So why isn't there teachers that are teaching that way? Why aren't teachers, talking about every subject, every topic? Why do they got to pretend like they're an expert all the time instead of learning with the people that are watching? And that's what we do here. That's why we go through notes and text and books. This is real-time, interactive learning. I'm the student too. And that's what I like about the way we do it. And that's what I like about this experience, because then I can look at the chat and I can glean information off of my fellow students. Right? You guys are learning with me. It's giving me instant feedback. My heart belongs to you, John. Well, thank you. Thank you. I'm glad. I'm going to hold you to it. For real. Can I get you to sign a contract and say that you belong to me, please? Thank you. Get that in blood? No way, but most of all, you hung out with a Zen master once and he got more drunk than me. Hey, look. Straight up, that's why I don't put on this front like I'm some fucking Zen master or anything like that. You know what I mean? I remember back in the day, especially like around 2020, when I really got, popular there for a while, and, the pandemic and shit was starting to come on. Like, I started to meet a lot more people, that would watch me and shit. And I still had a little bit of a stigma, a lot of people thought I was a preacher or something because I talked about Christianity so much still, and I've always talked about Jesus and Christ and all that. So like people would meet me sometimes, and that's, maybe I guess they didn't hear how filthy my mouth was. Maybe I went a few videos without cussing. I don't know, but they would meet me and they would just be shocked to I guess how grimy I am. I don't know. It's like, yeah, I like carnal shit too. And it's like, yeah, I got vices too. And it's like, I'm not afraid to show them though. That's the difference between me and these other people online. I come as I am, dude. I come as I am, rain or shine, no matter how fucking out of it I am or whatever. Like I'm here, and you guys are too, and that's what makes it real, y'all. It's like we're not putting on a front and acting like we know everything. We're not putting on a front and acting like we're experts on certain shit and that we're, you know what I mean? Like we're coming here the way that we are, and we're like, all right, this person is a little cranky about this subject, and this person's always drunk at this time. It's like you just overlook the shit because it's like you're no better than nobody else. We have no right to judge one another, for one. We should always be loving and unconditionally accepting each other and embracing each other's differences, for two. Everybody is welcome in this community, for three, right? And what gives us the right, honestly, and this is why I hate even like taking on the label of a teacher. Because once you say you're a teacher, people would say that to me all the time. I would post memes back in the day, especially, first couple of years when I was real heavy into the Bible still. People would say, you're supposed to be a preacher. How can you post something like that? It's like, what? First off, I never have said I'm a preacher, ever. Never have I, and ever will I. And second off, what do you mean? Because, and that's the religious indoctrination. That's that false sense of self-righteousness and piety, guys, that I'm always talking about. And that judgment and that condemnation that comes along with that false sense of righteousness and piety. It's like, oh, you're supposed to be this because the label I placed on you. Well, okay. So I can't be attracted to women because I talk about spiritual things. I can't post, raunchy memes because, I talk about spiritual things. Like, I can't, be into shitty rap music because I talk about spiritual things. It's like, and that's what really made me push towards the things I have eventually become. Right? I had to stop starting my videos with all the music because I kept getting in trouble. But, that's what pushed me. And that's where I really began to have success, too. Is when I finally embraced who I was. And said, fuck it. I don't care. If my hair's green, you'll accept it. If I have tattoos on my face, you'll either accept it or you won't. If I cuss a lot, you'll either accept it or you won't. If you like the music, you'll either jam with it or you won't. The subject matter, you're down with it or you're not. You're into it or you're not. You accept me or you don't. And until we're truly genuine to ourselves and embrace ourselves in every aspect of what we do, then we're living a lie. And I have to even be honest with that too. That can pigeonhole you as well. Don't ever solidify an identity either. Don't ever solidify an identity either. One of the greatest things that ever happened to me was a couple of years ago. I had my main channel stolen. And I shit you not, because I've been doing this for so long. It was like I lost my identity. I didn't know who the fuck I was. I'm like, what? How can this happen? From YouTube, but because I associated, myself with teaching and, content creation and shit for so long, when it was taken away from me, I was depressed. I'm like, what the fuck? Who am I? What do I tell people? And I have begun to identify with my work instead of letting my work become a reflection of who I am, right? And that's how they got everybody, at the scamdemic shit. All the nurses and all of that, right? Those people had done those careers for decades. When you talk to Cindy or Rachel or whoever, right? They identified as a nurse or a doctor. They let their jobs dominate their personality and dictate their identity, and they wore that label. They adopted the beliefs that were stereotypical of those labels, and then when that label was threatened, they compromised their morals and beliefs and even, things that maybe were detrimental to their well-being to hold on to that label. right? So that's why we can never cling to those type of things and cling to identities either. You know, there's a time and a season for everything. You know, I cut my fucking hair. It's not dyed anymore. You know, like I'm not gonna. You know, when people was asking me like, "Oh, why'd you cut your hair?" You know, shit like that. It's like because it's like a different season now. I'm in a new phase now. You know, like we evolve, we grow, we change. It doesn't mean I can't have purple hair tomorrow or change my hairstyle a month from now. But I'm not going to pigeonhole myself and limit myself in any way, shape, form, or facet within my life and who I am. And I'm not going to allow other motherfuckers to do it to me either. Right? And that's what holds a lot of people back. Especially people in professional fields of work, right? Where you got to go to an office and, you know, be a professional at your job. You know, it really can be constricting to those people. I've dated people that have done those kind of, you know, important jobs or in legal fields and shit like that. And it's like they didn't even want to bring me around their coworkers. Like, this guy's got green hair and face tattoos. And, you know, he's a fucking YouTuber talking about conspiracies. It's like, in that right there, it's like, shouldn't we be comfortable enough in our own skin and secure enough with who we are and our position within ourselves and within our life that either everybody accept who we are, what we do, what we want out of life, what we like, who we love, or they can fuck off. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's how it should be. If not, it will hinder your growth. If not, it will stunt your growth. If not, it will box you in and trap you in that same bullshit, perceptual trap that everybody else is in. Of trying to be accepted, of trying to fit a mold, a stereotype, and it's just indoctrinating yourself in a different type of way. A reputation with peers to uphold. Exactly. Well, I respect a reputation far more if you don't give a fuck what other people think, and you're not ashamed of who you are, who you love, who you're with, where you live, what, you know what I mean? The things you believe. You don't have to rub it in people's face or try to beat people down with it that don't understand it. You don't have to do those things, but you don't have to alter or water down who you are. You know, and you should never be ashamed or hide any aspect of who that is. You know, and that includes those you love. That includes where you live. That includes what you believe, how you feel, what you like, what you don't. You know, it's got to be a part of the mix. You know, that's being true to yourself. You need a shift or a change. Well, the shift and the change begins within ourselves. You know, it truly does. Fear of what other people think, yeah, that's you seeking acceptance. You know, those people need acceptance, and that's an insecurity, right? And that's an issue. Like whether it's issues of rejection or abandonment or whatever, that's a trauma, right? You see, that's why doing the work is so goddamn important. You know, it affects the way you behave. It affects the way you act. You know, try being insecure in a relationship and see how long your relationship lasts as those insecurities and traumas begin to manifest. Right? You guys know, you've all been in shitty relationships. Right? How long will they last? They won't. You know? And that's any type of dynamic, whether it's coworkers, friends, lovers. You know, it doesn't matter. We have to get down to the nitty gritty and do the fucking dirty work now and really go within and heal ourselves all the way and truly embody the true essence of who we are and allow that to shine through everywhere we go. That way people can see that light and they're going to want that too. They're going to want that freedom. They're going to say, man, you know what? I want to not give a fuck like, he does or she does. I want to love who I love like he does or she does. I want to love the way he loves or she loves. Right? Without limitations because my ego is getting in the way. Right? I want to experience the way that he or she experiences. Because nothing hinders or holds them back. You know? Like that's... And we're programmed as adults to deny all of our inner child impulses and shit. And I'm not telling you to be impulsive or anything or self-centered or self-serving. But I'm saying you have to nurture your inner child. You have to nurture your inner self. You know, and be playful. And put the things that are truly important to you in their rightful place within your life, within your reality, or you are going to create disharmony and imbalance, and it's going to manifest itself into some very ugly ways. You feel free to be yourself, well, that's amazing. Messages from other realms. And these are just different versions. Automatic writing, channeled art, channeling, dowsing and pendulums, dreams, lucid dreams, EVP, grid travel. Matter of fact, let's go to this one over here. I've got one already set up. Geomancy. Once practiced by people from all social classes, it was one of the most popular forms of divination throughout Europe and Africa in the Middle Ages and the Renaissance. Books and treatises on geomancy were published up until the 17th century, when most occult traditions fell out of popularity. And that's another thing. Back in 2017 and shit like that, 2018, spirituality and shit got super popular. It was trendy. You know, those type of videos and shit trended on YouTube. And then when censorship came along, they stifled it all out, and it's no longer cool or trendy anymore. It's starting to become trendy again. But those who use spirituality as just a trend, right, never really get much from it. But I have seen people who stumbled upon it as part of a trend or whatever, or its popularity, and have actually ended up becoming serious students, right, and really growing, maturing, evolving, and changing. You know, but we should never be doing it because it's popular or we think it's cool. You know, it should be cool to us for the right reasons, not just because everybody else thinks it's cool. It says the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn attempted a revival of old occult arts, including geomancy, but the short time they desired to master their arts restricted their ability to fully practice and revive them. Geomancy has recently seen a new interest throughout the works of John Michael Greer and other practitioners, with more mainstream occult circles practicing and teaching geomancy. Its history. Geomancy, from Greek geomantia, translates literally to foresight by earth. Earlier Greek renditions of this word borrowed the word ram, sand, directly, rendering it as Ramphlian or Rabolian. And other Arabic or geomancy includes Khat al-Rami, Darb al-Ram. Geomancy as an art is theorized to have its origins in the Arabic Middle East, although the lack of historical records prevents any measure of certainty. The original names of the figures were traditionally given in Arabic, including or excluding a Persian origin. The reference of in Hermetic texts potentially points to an Indian origin, although Skinner thinks this to be unlikely. Having an Islamic or Arabic origin is most likely, since the expansive trade routes of Arabian merchants would facilitate the exchange of culture and knowledge. It is theorized that related systems of divination in sub-Saharan Africa either were based off of or co-developed with Arabic divination systems. The use of binary numbers is a distinct trait in the culture of the African plains. European scholars and universities began to translate Arabic texts and treatises in the Middle Ages, including those on geomancy. Isidore of Seville lists geomancy with other methods of divination, including pyromancy, hydromancy, aeromancy, and necromancy, without describing its application or methods. It could be that Isidore of Seville was listing methods of elemental scrying more than what is commonly known as geomancy. The poem Experimentarius, attributed to Bernardus Sylvestris, who wrote in the middle of the 12th century, was a verse translation of a work on an astrological geomancy. One of the first discourses on geomancy translated into Latin with the Ars Geomantiae, or Hue of Centia. By this point, geomancy must have been an established divination system in Arabic-speaking areas of Africa and the Middle East. Other translators, such as Gerard of Cremona, also produced new translations of the geomancy that incorporated astrological elements and techniques that were, up until this point, ignored. From this point on, more European scholars studied and applied geomancy, writing many treatises. In the process, Henry Cornelius Agrippa, Christopher Catan, and John Hayden produced oft-cited and well-studied treatises on geomancy, along with other philosophers, occultists, theologians, until the 17th century, when interest in occultism and divination began to dwindle due to the rise of the scientific revolution and the age of reason. Let's keep moving. Matter of fact, and this is what a lot of us actually are, is ascended masters. We'll go to that in a second. Affirmations. This is a beautiful practice here. Affirmations are a healing tool that can make you feel better about yourself to gain control of your life. They adjust your attitude during daily routines, thus empowering you to believe that you can create what you need for happiness and success in life. An affirmation, from Latin affirmare, to assert, is a declaration that something is true. In spirituality and personal development, an affirmation is a form of autosuggestion in which a statement of desirable intention or condition of the world or the mind is deliberately meditated on and repeated in order to implant it into the mind. Affirmation could be viewed positively as a mobilization of one's inner resources, or negatively as a kind of self-induced brainwashing, depending on the psychological depth and wisdom of the affirmation. For example, quote, "I am making more room in my life for success every day," is a much wiser affirmation than "I will win the lottery today." Affirmations can be very powerful and means of reprogramming to the unconscious mind. They appear to be most effective when repeated in a quiet and restful state of mind and body. And we talked about this, right? The daily affirmations, the new moon affirmations, of where you go from new moon to new moon, doing positive affirmations as you stand in the mirror, preferably naked. I'm the only one who prefers you to be naked, though, by the way. But, like I said, some people have, body shaming and issues like that. So, just saying. But, these affirmations are huge, man, and a real part of manifestation, too, and attraction as well. Moving forward here. Let me get to the good shit. Clairvoyance. The term clairvoyance, from French clair, meaning clear, and voyance, meaning vision, refers to the ability to gain visual telepathic information about an object, person, location, or physical event through means other than the known human senses. It is often called ESP, or extrasensory perception. For some, clairvoyance is innate, while for most people it can be developed through various psychic development exercises, meditation, and yoga clairvoyance lessons. And I tell you what, my clairvoyance has come as a result of, if you guys remember, about a year or so ago, I was working with hypnosis, self-induced hypnosis. And that's part of how I untangled my thoughts, right? Was, through my own self-induced brainwashing. I was so traumatized from being a targeted individual that I had to untangle, all that fucking, the weeds of negativity that had been created in my mind, all the fragments and fractures that had been created in my mind as a result of all the trauma and abuse, you know? And I did that through different forms of, hypnosis, or, QHHT, right? Quantum hypnosis and healing, basically therapy. Right, I did different forms of that and different practices of that. And it untangled my thoughts in enough, a manner to where it rewired my brain, through hypnosis and repetition. And it allowed me to then work on my emotions. And my gifts and abilities began to go wide open after that. If you don't use it, you lose it. And that goes for anything. So if you want to, develop spiritual skills, then you have to develop those skills. You can't just wish them on a star to come to you and happen. It's like, I'm trying to do a lot more of the tarot now, and I read tarot every day of my life. I listen to tarot videos all the time, and it's all because that's what I'm working on. I'm always trying to work on my craft. When it comes to astrology, I'm like always constantly studying different astrological alignments. And in order for me to absorb it, I write it down and try to memorize the different energetic alignments and, how this energy affects another. And that's part of trying to master your craft. You have to put the shit into practice. You have to become a student of whatever it is you're doing, including extrasensory perception and clairvoyance. It's a natural gift, but it's one that can be fine-honed and tuned to a masterful gift, right? If you utilize what God gave you, Clairsentience, psychic sensing. Experiencing other realities or entities through the sense of touch. A tickling sensation on the body when connection with spirit. This usually includes the face, hands, and neck. Hairs on the back of the neck standing on end when a spirit touches you. A sensation on the left side of the face when talking with spirit as energy enters through the left side of the body or right brain and exists through the right. Pressure on the crown chakra. Sometimes the blow is usually felt by the body. A cool breeze, spirit scents, floral, and other fragrances. So that's psychic sensing. And I've got a few different versions of this. Clairgustance. Clairgustance is being aware of taste without putting anything physically in the mouth. To perceive the essence of a substance through taste from the spiritual or ethereal realms, the sensation of what one is tasting is often linked to a spirit on the other side. Yeah, it's like I got a little bit of clairgustance. I can tell you, like, some stuff will taste like shit, right? If you ate actual dog shit, it would taste bad, right? That's clairgustance right there. Like, I can tell you without even tasting it that it's not going to be good, And, Heroes at Night, in reverse speech, John X Army. What? What are you talking about? I'm not sure what you're talking about with the reverse speech technology, though. I am familiar with that. Backwards masking, but I don't know where you got that from, what you reversed to hear that. All are gifted. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. Well, because he changed? Because John X Army changed from a conspiracy theorist to a spiritual teacher or a spiritual person? I don't see it as, he had an awakening. A real, genuine awakening is how I see it. That's just me. Which I haven't seen any of his work for a very long time. A long time. I don't know what happened to him in that aspect, but from what I've seen, he just went through a dynamic awakening, and it changed how he's seen the world, And that happens with a lot of us. It's happened to me too. I've changed so much since I first started doing this. Clairaudience. Clairaudience is receiving messages in thought form from other frequencies or realm. It's considered a form of channeling. We actually do it all the time, especially under duress or in an emergency. When we focus and listen to what we call the little voice in our head, we are always connected to the other side. We need only focus on what is being said to realize how our immediate destiny is manifesting. Stop, look, and listen. The entities attributed to these messages are often thought of as one's souls, spirit guides, deceased, loved ones, disincarnate entities, angels, or other religious icons, aliens, sometimes dark or negative forces, etc. The messages are preceded by a scent of something kind of related to spirit. Most of it is floral fragrance, representing the flower of life or creation, with the continuity with the other side in different frequencies. This is known as clairsentience. Sometimes there's pressure on the top of the head or other chakra points in the head around the lower base of the brain behind the ears. One's focus is shifted to listen for thoughts, and they come through. Sometimes they are clear, other times muffled. There may be a pressure on the top of the head that means the opening of the crown chakra. One may also experience body sensations such as chills, tingles, hair standing on end, tickles, or other physical sensations. And I've experienced that, right? The audible sentience, right? And I'm sure we all have. We've heard something through a variety of messages and YouTube videos and all of that, right? That's given us, giving us some type of insight through synchronicity, right? So, clairalience is clear smelling. It's a alleged phenomenon where sensitive people can smell the odor of a person who is not on the earth plane. They can sometimes smell their pipe tobacco, cigarette tobacco, food smells with different spices if they are coming from a kitchen. Mediums profess to smell the places where the deceased person worked, like a chemical factory, docks, or places to be reminded of the recipient of a message off the platform in the church or meeting place in a development circle. Connecting with your soul group. Do you feel that there is a group of souls on this planet that you are supposed to meet as part of your greater destiny? Like the best damn fam. This group could be you and one other person or several people who are all on your frequency. You sense each other's presence. There may be other aspects of your soul wanting to come together. The internet has been instrumental in bringing soul groups together, but this feeling goes beyond the internet. It is a feeling in your soul. You sense these people, often living in areas not near your home. The people who share our journeys vary as we learn and move on. If you feel this is a time to meet them and they are two who are in readiness, synchronicities will reunite you. You must feel this tugging in your soul. Many people want to have a metaphysical adventure, but they have no free time. Work, school, family, or other obligations fill up their time. When you are ready, you will make time, and it will be amazing. You need amazing in your life. There is nothing more fun than meeting someone on the same path. You speak the same language. Often, the written word is not needed. You realize that you are going through something together that will make you more aware when you're finished, like taking a voyage, which is weird. That magazine I'm in, Voyage magazine. If you sense these souls, just relax your mind and body, clear your thoughts, and see yourself as a beacon of light. Send out a message, they will hear you. They may come in to help with healing and clearing, or for something beyond. You will recognize each other and move forward. You never know who may show up. BDP, that's right. That's right, baby. The best damn fam. This is, my soul group for sure. And I hope it's some of your soul group as well. Because we truly are, a family. We truly are a collective of very, very unique and gifted, individuals. Very unique and gifted people. And just to kind of touch on a few of these other things. I'm going to kind of list a few others. Maybe I will do a part 2 to this tomorrow is what I should do. Right? With the tarot. People give me a hard time for this, but I love tarot, and I believe this is one of the greatest tools that we have. It's my favorite. Tarot is another oracle of divination, and it attracts some psychic readers and not others. The real answer comes from the tarot reader being able to focus their consciousness beyond the physical meaning of a given card and into the life of the person they are reading. Interpretations are always more than what's on a flat card, but rather multidimensional. This is much like simulation theory, where we are as reality is explained as coming from two-dimensional sheets, then into a physical matrix of events we experience here. We'll never know the origin of the original deck, which could have been created by Oracle centuries ago, as a way of defining what was happening in reality at that time. Many believe current decks are allegories legend depictions, relate to holy texts and lore and other ancient mystical symbolism, empowered by those who use them. Modern day, there are many different types of tarot decks, some going back hundreds of years, and others as contemporary online cards. I prefer to use a deck of regular playing cards. Yeah, well, that's their preference, and I've seen people use regular playing cards. They do work. They, in essence, are essentially the same thing. But, I love tarot myself. We have the tea leaf reading, Geomancy, thoughtography. Thoughtography, better known, thoughtography or projected thermography or ningraphy is the ability to physically burn images from one's mind into surfaces or even into the mind of others. It is common in fiction and made noteworthy by a recent Ring media franchise. Yeah, that's pretty fucking wild. If anybody has this ability, please hit me up. Scrying or pareidolia. Scrying is a subjective way of defining abstract images. It's also known by various names such as seeing or peeping. In the practice of looking into a suitable medium in the hope of detecting significant messages or visions, the objective might be personal guidance, prophecy, revelation, or inspiration. But down the ages, scrying in various forms also has been a prominent means of divination or fortune telling. It remains popular in occult circles, discussed in many media modern day and centuries old. Pareidolia is a method of divination and takes on many forms. It is a tendency to interpret a vague stimulus as something known to the observer, such as seeing shapes in clouds, seeing faces in inanimate objects, or abstract patterns, or hearing hidden messages in music. And I think we can all agree that there are subliminal messages in music. We've heard them. We see the synchronicities and the patterns and all of that. If you're in an altered state of consciousness or a higher state of consciousness, you will perceive everything differently, right? And it'll come from a higher plane of thought. Well, look, guys, I am going to wrap up tonight. This will be the end of part 1. I will drop a part 2 on this probably, and we'll do, take it a little further. I think there's still so much more to talk about, so much more to dive into, but I'm getting tired on you, and I want to fall asleep. I do want to ask everybody that is watching, man, please, please, please consider donating and supporting to this channel. The last couple weeks, man, I've been suspended on both the main channels. That's my main source of income, and it set the channel behind and set me behind. And this is my income, my living, and this is how I keep all this going. So if you guys could just step up and help me out, give a little extra right now, I would greatly appreciate it. And you will get access to our private and uncensored content. We just dropped a new one last night. We have over 100 videos on the uncensored playlist on a Dropbox. If you donate through PayPal, Venmo, or Cash App, just text 513-393-2396 or email the realvestinpodcast@gmail.com, and I will send you that new Dropbox link. I've already made last night's video private, so you have to go through joining the Best Damn Fam, $35 a month. But everybody who does donate, no matter how small, gets to watch the Discords each week. So keep that in mind too. So every little bit counts, and every little bit gets you access to the stuff. So it's I'm doing the best I can to try to bring the thunder here. The extended readings and the August tarot readings will be coming out tomorrow. So those of you who are on Patreon, YouTube channel members, you will have access to that as well. You not just the private uncensored content, but you're now going to have access to the extended tarot readings too. So that's cool. That's something I'm actually excited about. Be looking for, and the videos are going to be broken up smaller. I don't know if I'm going to stream it as one large live stream and then break it down into smaller videos, or just upload it as just individual videos. I haven't decided, but it's the month of August tarot readings are in, and I'll be uploading the extendeds either right before I do those videos or right after. That way you can go straight to it, so probably right before. Which you will be able to purchase the extended separately if you want. I haven't decided how much I'm going to charge. It'll just be $1 or $2 basically. But that adds up in a month, man, and you're getting those for free. You're getting, free merch every 3 months on Patreon, and just so many different things. We're gonna, be dropping a new astrology video for August here in the next couple of days as well. What else? I think for now that's about it. So please, guys, make sure to follow and on all the platforms: Facebook, DLive, Twitch. Follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and check us out on Rumble and BitChute. And make sure to subscribe. All the YouTube channels, JohnBoy513 as well. I'm using those channels now. It's good to have backups, man. And I have all of them under featured channels, so you can easily go subscribe to any of my channels. They're all under there. They're all being used, and they all have new content on them too. And some channels have content that's not on others, so I kind of mix it up. So make sure to subscribe and click that bell. Please, please, please comment in the comment section after the video is over. Give me your feedback, your thoughts on things, or just say what's up, but be active and comment, guys. It helps with the algorithms. And take just a second of your time. Everybody can do this. Share the links for me, man. Share the links and get it out there. Share it to the Facebook groups you belong to. Share it to your profile pages on all the different social medias. And share it right from the content platform you're watching it from. And if you're super lazy, I always post links to the videos on all the platforms. So you can go check out my shit when you follow me and share my links. Either way, it's all good. And get that private content. Join the Best Damn Fam today. $35 a month. Get access to so much cool stuff and help me take care of myself and keep the channel going and keep the community growing. And big ups and big thanks to each and every one of you that will give and have given, and just I love all of you guys. I can't tell you how much I appreciate all of you, and I hope you see how just divine and badass each and every one of you are, and how critical you all are to all of this. Like, literally, you're all straight up superstars, and without you guys, none of this is possible. And I'm so humbled by the entire experience, because this is what it's really about. It's like spiritual family. And spirit family not only accepts and loves each other unconditionally, we take care of each other, we look out for each other, we protect each other, and we're there for each other like a real family, So that's what I'm wanting to create, and that's what I'm trying to create, and that's what I hope you would want to be a part of and create with me. So, all right, thank you guys so much for watching. You'll try to help. Well, thank you. Yes. All right, guys, I love you all, and I appreciate all that you guys do. Remember, Jesus is the truth, the way, and life. God bless you all. I love you, and I'll see you next time. Peace.